Hello, listeners, and welcome to a bonus episode of The Cult Vault. The purpose of this extra content is to let you know about some changes in the show and also to introduce you to the show's official sponsor for September. Before getting into business, I wanted to shout out every single person that I have had the luck to interview so far on this show. Your stories are saving people, informing people, and helping families with every single download. The impact of each episode and the feedback I receive should not go underrated. Business-wise, the first thing I wanted to let you know about is the launch of the hashtag Memoir Monday project. On the first Friday of each month, I will feature a new memoir, interviewing the author of the book and running a giveaway on social media across Twitter, Instagram and YouTube. All you need to do is follow one of my social media accounts, like and comment on any of the content posted across the month of September, and you will automatically be entered into the giveaway. For this month, I have an incredible interview with Ronit Plank, author of the When She Comes Back memoir, a coming-of-age story about Ronit's mother leaving to join the infamous cult leader Bhagwan Shree Rajneesh. Ronit has agreed to sign 3 exclusive copies to be sent out to the winners of September's hashtag Memoir Monday giveaway. I'll include friendly reminders in each episode in September, as well as post regularly on social media about this project. My Instagram and Twitter handles are @CultVaultPod, and my YouTube page is CultVault. The second thing I wanted to let you know about is that I have relaunched my Patreon page. There are 4 tiers that now include added bonuses. Tier 1 is named Disillusioned and costs only £1 or $1.50 a month. It includes 1 exclusive interview a month, a shout out on the next episode, and also includes having your name added to the list of sponsors on the official website. Tier 2 is named Disentangled and is £5 a month or $7.50 and includes all of Tier 1 as well as access to ad-free versions of every episode uploaded to the weekly public feed, links to unlisted YouTube videos to watch video versions of episodes uploaded to the weekly public feed, and monthly deep dive content into an infamous cult from history. Tier 3 is named Disassociated and is £10 a month or $14.50, and it includes all of Tier 1 and Tier 2, as well as the ability to suggest future content, a Cult Vault exclusive bookmark, a Cult Vault exclusive sticker, discount codes to any future merchandise, and early access to new merchandise. And finally, Tier 4 named Deprogrammed, but it costs £15 a month or $21.50. It includes all of the perks of Tier 1, 2 and 3, but it also includes links to a private Discord server where you can contact me directly anytime, monthly video call book club sessions with myself and other patrons in this tier where we will vote on and discuss a chosen book each month, and a choice of 1 out of 2 memoirs to be sent directly to you. The first is Boy Erased by Garrett Conley, his memoir around conversion therapy, where 10% of this pledge will be donated to the Born Perfect movement. BornPerfect.org's mission statement is, "We are conversion therapy survivors and legal experts working together to draft, introduce and pass legislation, spread awareness through public education, media and advocacy, and empower conversion therapy survivors and their families." The second memoir is Dead, Insane or in Jail by Zach Bonney. This is his memoir around CEDU, where 10% of this pledge will be donated to hashtag Breaking Code Silence. BreakingCodeSilence.org has a mission statement that reads, "Awareness and education events, research on the troubled teen industry and institutional abuse, investigation into open programs, and legislative reform on the industry." The 10% pledge will come from the lifetime pledge of the patron or 10% of every $100, whichever comes first. Right now on Patreon, there are 63 exclusive posts that you can unlock, which include ad-free content, exclusive interviews, deep dive episodes on the Anthill Kids, Heaven's Gate, The Handmaid's Tale, Charles Manson, and loads more on the way. You can find me on patreon.com/thecultvault, or find the link in the episode description. And this is a great time to shout out again all of my amazing patrons. There's Caroline B, Renee, Shelby, Rochelle, Amanda, Blanche, Caroline, Megan, Avril, Leanne, and my very first patron, Darian, who is still here and going strong. Thank you so much for your continued support of the show. allowing me to continue bringing new episodes each week. The podcast has been on the inside of the top 200 of true crime podcasts across the world over August. It is appearing higher up in search bars on Apple Podcasts and is gaining new subscribers on YouTube every day. If you don't wish to pledge financially to the show but enjoy listening, every review, download, subscriber, or follower on social media, or just sharing the show with a friend, downloading the app on the Play Store called the Cult Vault, all of this adds to the success of the show. So please, if you have 5 minutes, consider leaving a review, following a social media page, or sharing the show with a friend. Now on to the main purpose of this episode, the introduction of the sponsors for the podcast in September. An incredible company who have developed some potentially life-saving software. As episodes are released this month, you will hear ads regularly highlighting the company, but I will let Peter fill you in on all of the details. I hope you enjoy. So hi Peter, and thank you so much for joining me today as the official sponsors of the podcast for the whole of September and maybe more. I wanted to bring you on the show to talk to the listeners about your product and your company in this bonus episode. So would you like to start by introducing yourself and telling the listeners a little bit about who you are?
Sure. Hi, Casey. Thank you so much for having us. We're really excited because I think there's like a really good fit between your podcast and your audience and your interests and what we're offering. So I'll just tell you a little bit about me to start. I'm 41 years old. I'm originally from Los Angeles, California. I now kind of just travel all over the world. I'm currently in Central America. I have 2 daughters that are now adults. One just finished college and she's about to move to Europe. My other daughter is just starting college, so they are kind of off doing their own thing at this point. I started a software company back in 2008 called Netlandish, and basically what we do is we build custom software for very large organizations and large brands and media companies, and for companies that pretty much everybody would know their, recognize their name if I was mentioning names. But we also build our own software products as well, and that's where we are.
And one of those products is what we're going to be discussing today. And I think you're right when you say that it fits quite well with some of the topics that are discussed on this show, and might potentially be of interest to some of the listeners. And I'm sure they'll see why once we get into things. But we're here today to talk a little bit about one particular piece of software that you've developed. And can you tell us the name of this software and what this is offering to members of the public?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's called Help You Find Me, or helpyoufind.me is the domain name. And the name is kind of obvious, but essentially it's a service that offers that provides a safe and secure way to share potentially life-saving information with basically the people you trust the most. We like to think of it as an end-to-end encrypted if I go missing file.
And if anybody's familiar with true crime podcasts, then they might have heard some of the hosts talk about having sort of like a if I go missing pack or things for loved ones to check first in the house or maybe in their car, like a piece of paper that they keep with them, that could give loved ones information on how to maybe access their phones, sort of PIN codes for their phones and things like that. But of course, there's a danger with leaving bits of paper around that have passwords and PIN codes to your electronics. So this is like the perfect answer to that. It's offering that protected information, but only offering it to people that you want to share that information with. And I just think that this is such a great idea. When I read about the software, I was thinking, how is this not something I've read about before? So where did this idea initially come from? How did you guys come up with this?
So it sort of plays off of what you just said, but I'll go back a little bit further. I was 36, 36 years old at the time, traveling in Colombia for a conference. And, my mother is a typical Hispanic mother. She wants to know what I'm doing and where I am. And she's calling me, and I'm in the middle of a taxi ride, and she's like, I don't have your hotel, I don't have this, I don't have that. And I'm like, oh my God, Mom, I'm a grown man, leave me alone, you know? And so I'm like, okay. And I was thinking I should figure out a way to share this information with everybody that cares about where I'm at. So in a secure way, so it's not public, but whatever. So I was just in my mind. And then the following year, my oldest daughter was leaving to college, and she's, we're from the West Coast of the United States. She's going to the East Coast. And I was just like, man, how am I going to keep track of her? Like, I don't know where she's going to be. I don't know the East Coast. I don't know, I'm from California, et cetera. And so I thought, okay, there's got to be a way to do this. And so I started writing this software that eventually became Help You Find Me. But that's essentially what started it. It was a very crude thing in the very beginning, just for my family to use. Both my daughters, my mom, my ex-wife were on it. Everybody, we all shared it together, and we all update each other on where we are, what's going on, any weird things that was happening that day or whatever. And we'd always have these sort of breadcrumbs, we like to call them, where it's just left all over here, and okay, I know she's okay, or what have you. And that's sort of how it started.
And I think, when you said that you had two daughters who were kind of both flying the nest, I was thinking, oh, maybe that's where the idea came from, because my children are both under 2 years of age, and I'm already panicking about what I'm going to do when they're older. So I can definitely see why, if you had the ability, you would want to create something that would be able to kind of give you access to that information. But the beauty of this product is that if I was to share my information with you, I could choose exactly what to show you and what not to show you. So if your daughter doesn't want you kind of micromanaging or overseeing absolutely everything that she's doing, and kind of wanting to have the college experience without somebody monitoring her every move, she has the ability to do that. But you know that she's still safe because you're sharing kind of the information that you've asked for her to share, and she can also restrict what she's sharing with you. That's kind of when I was reading through the detailed parts of the website, that's how I perceived it. Would you say that that's correct?
Yeah. So we have two sort of concepts of the information that's available to be shared with the people you trust on the platform. We have the concept of private data, which is like your most sensitive information. This would be people you're dating, banking passwords, email passwords, social media passwords, current photos, health information, all this stuff that's super, super sensitive. That kind of goes back to your point earlier, that if you just kind of have in a folder in your house and somebody breaks in and steals it, well, now you've just been a victim of identity theft. Or, say you have an abusive partner or an overbearing parent or whatever, and they're not respecting the privacy of the other person. Now they have access to all your stuff. So that's where the line kind of is. And the other level of data is just sort of like general updates, right? So that could just be like, oh, hey, I'm currently here, or hey, here's a photo of where I'm going. Here's a photo where I'm currently at. Here's just a general update, travel itineraries and stuff like that. And there's another level or layer to the ability of sharing that you have for both of those things. But especially with private data, you can say, my most sensitive data, my parents, I want you guys to have, immediate access to my private data, or wait 12 hours. And you could say, for my sister, I want her to wait 24 hours to have access to it. Yeah, for my cousin, I wanted her to wait 3 days to have access to it, right? So the idea being that you can set different rules for how they are able to access your data. And so say, for instance, I wanted to get my daughter's banking passwords, and I go in and I request her private data. What happens is she has me set up for a rule that says, oh, no, my dad has to wait 12 hours. So the system will start notifying her via her mobile phone or through email, and saying, hey, your dad is trying to access your private data. Is that okay? Yes or no? You can say yes or no, accept or deny. And she has up to those 12 hours to deny it or approve or deny it. And if she does not answer within those 12 hours, then automatically the system approves it, and I now have access to this information. And this is very important, because the idea being that, for the authorities to get access to this information, all of the information that may be it, whether it's cell phones or social media or banking, whatever it may be, that could take weeks, which is, after 48 hours, it just changes things so drastically. So That's the idea. We want to be able to get people access to this information as quickly as possible. And yeah, that's sort of the different sharing levels. And you can do, like I said, you can have various different settings for how it's shared and how they're able to access it.
And I'm sure that some of the listeners have experienced this, trying to access information and not being able to get there. I remember when my grandma, who was my best friend in the whole world, and I think about her every day, and she passed away. And I know she had some photos on her iPad that were really important to her. And we thought that we could get some copies of those photos and kind of use them at the funeral. But we didn't know the password to her iPad. So when my auntie went through the legal process because we couldn't find a will, we searched everywhere, we phoned local banks and funeral planners, and nobody had her on record. And so we went to, once my auntie had been cleared to become the legal guardian of her assets, we approached Apple, and even with the documentation from the legal system, my auntie was not given that information, and Apple just basically said, we can't help you. And I've read in the news as well of some high profiled cases where electronics have been found and Apple have said, we can't help you with that. And it baffles my mind, because if somebody's gone missing and you have their phone, and that could be the key to finding where they are, then to me, like, you'd think there'd be a way around it, but apparently there isn't. So I can't imagine how long it must take for law enforcement to go through those procedures to get access into those electronics if you can't even go directly to the software developers and say, can you help us? So I know personally that there has been a time where this particular product would have been really helpful for me.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. Bringing up Apple, actually, there was a famous situation in the States in 2015 where there was a terrorist attack in San Bernardino, California, and police wanted Apple to unlock their phones after they had been killed or they're found dead or whatever. And Apple refused. And there was a big court battle and everything. And eventually it dropped because another company in Australia or something knew how to break into them, and they did so. But that's just a perfect example. Is, sometimes there's information that you just need, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be a situation where there's someone missing or what have you. But like you said, your grandmother passed away. And everybody's devices now generally come configured encrypted. So your new MacBook, you type in your password, it's encrypted. So if someone passes away suddenly or what have you, there's no way to access the information on that. There's just no way. I don't even know if Apple can get into it. So it's really important that there's a way to leave behind access to the stuff that you want people to have access to after you go, or if you go missing or what have you. And it doesn't even have to be, a dire situation in the sense like someone snatched you off the street or what have you. It could be you went off the side of the road in a canyon and you're trapped in your car and nobody can reach you and you can't get to your cell phone, and the authorities cannot get access to your cell phone data to kind of see where you've been, et cetera, et cetera. And you might be stuck in there for days. There's actually documented cases that's happening where people are found 6-7 days later, barely alive, but they're still there. And if someone just was able to get access to the information sooner, they would have been able to find them. So there's all different scenarios where this could be really, really important to have access to.
Absolutely. Yeah. And how did your process go from having this crude system that worked between sort of close family and friends to branching out and developing it into something professional that the public could access?
Well, that's funny because, my daughters, when she went to college, she and her sister, my younger daughter, they started getting into true crime podcasts. And they got me into them. And that's when I heard about the If I Go Missing file. And I was like, we kind of have this already. Like, we have this. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, let's make this a product, because I started letting also friends. So just not to go off too much of a tangent, but stepping back one level, my daughters both played competitive sports. They played soccer or football all their life. And they traveled all over the country. In some cases, they went to Europe to play, et cetera. So they were really high level. So they're always all over the place. So as a result, we're friendly with a lot of families whose kids are doing the same thing. And so we started letting them try it. Oh, try this out. Oh, your daughter's coming here. Let her update you where she is, et cetera. And they're all like, this is awesome. Can we pay you to use this? And when people start telling you, can I pay you to use it? I'm like, okay, we have a product here.
Yeah.
So that's sort of how it started. And we sort of went from there. We're like, okay, let's actually spend some time, turn this into an actual product that the public can use and make it friendly for users. And we double down on our security and how it works so that it's even safer for families to use. And that's where it went.
And when you say we, how many of you are there that work on this particular software?
In total, there's 4 of us that work on this software. My company is very small. We're a little bit more than the 4 of us, but the 4 of us, Anna, Gus, Oscar, and myself, are the ones that work on this particular product at the moment. But yeah, we're a small team. We move fast. We have no dreams of becoming this massive company or whatever. We just want to be a small company, serve our customers, give them service that's reliable, et cetera, and just work on the stuff that we love doing.
I think that sounds great. And I think that comes across on the website as well. And I've been speaking to Anna via email for a while now, and that kind of that passion comes across even from just a small working team. So I'm just wondering if you have any examples of when the software was used and how effective it was.
I don't know of any examples of, well, let me say this. The core use of this software is one of these things that we hope our users never have to use, right? Like we hope there's never an emergency where one of our customers needs to use this. So that said, I don't know of an example where one of our users went, missing or had an emergency and their family had to use the software to actually find them. I do know of examples where a user of ours was using the software and she was very worried about conversations her daughter was having online, and she was able to get information from, access her daughter's social media instant messenger account and read that she was talking with people on the internet that were much older than her.
Okay.
And inappropriate conversations, and so she was able to put a stop to all of that. So I consider that a win. But I because we don't have access to anybody's information, like there's no way we can access it. I can't really see what people are using it for. But what I can say, I can say from my family's examples, my daughters use it. For instance, my older daughter, if she's going out, she's 22 years old, she goes out to bars and stuff sometimes. So if she's going to grab an Uber or whatever, she sends a screenshot to the service. So we all can, here's my driver. We're going to this place. I'll update my location when I get there, whatever. And she just sends this little post, little update, so we can see this is the Uber driver that picked her up. We see where she's waiting. And then she could even say, oh, I'm a little delayed. We're in traffic. She might just send a photo of traffic. And so we can all see, okay. She might just say, oh, I'm almost there, and send her location. So we can sort of just, like I was saying before, it's kind of the concept of just breadcrumbs. And it's very different than, I don't know, Instagram or Facebook or whatever it may be, because there it's really more for a large group, where this is really designed as like a sort of a private social networking. It's not social networking, but it's sort of a private communication channel between a very small number of just trusted people in your life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely hope that nobody has to use the software in the case of a missing person. But right. It must, as a parent, it must put your mind at ease knowing that you do have access to this level of software that can kind of help you keep track of things when you've got children that are traveling. And you yourself, but you mentioned at the start that you travel yourself as well. So even if everybody was staying put and you were moving around, it would put your mind at ease and your family's mind at ease as well, I imagine.
Yeah.
But something I just wanted to go back on quickly, when you said that we don't have access to the information. So if I was to download the software today and start using it, I would pick and choose who to share my information with and what information to share with them. And when you say we don't have access, you mean you as a company help you find me cannot access the information, even if law enforcement came to you and said, we need you to give us this information. There's no way you can physically do that.
Absolutely correct. So I don't want to get too into the weeds because it's a little technical, but It's completely end-to-end user encrypted. So how it works very quickly is just when you create an account, you'll create an encryption password, and it has to be different than your account password. That encryption password is the key to all of your private data, so you don't want to lose that password. So it should be a very strong password, but it should be kept safe. And so when you're sharing information with other people, well, let me take one quick step back. So when you're creating your encryption password, what we're doing is we're creating encryption keys, right? So that's a public key and a private key. Public key is used to encrypt data to you. Your private key is used to decrypt that private data. So for instance, if I was to share with both of my daughters, what happens is the software on your computer, in your web browser, takes my private data, encrypts it for each of my daughter's public key. So it creates one copy for one daughter, uses their public key to encrypt it, and then saves it for her. The same thing for my other daughter, saves it for her. And that's essentially how it works. And so that when they want to read it, they can only access it by using their encryption password,
right,
because they have to use their private key to decrypt it. And I just want to say it's really important to note that our service, it's impossible for us to access it because we never have your encryption password, and we never handle your data in unencrypted form. So it's all the encryption and decryption happens on your computer, and when data is sent back and forth with our system, it's in encrypted format. So there's no way for us to access it. So even if law enforcement came to us and said, you have to access this, you have to break it, we can say it's not possible for us to break it. You need a supercomputer in the CIA that's just going to guess passwords and passwords and passwords until it guesses your encryption password. There's no way for us to do it. It's technically impossible. We also set up what's called a warrant canary on the website, which is, it's a digitally signed page that says, as of now, no one has forced us to install sniffers or anything to listen for passwords or anything like that. We're also very sort of transparent with our source code. So we want people that have the technical know-how. If they go to our homepage and just go to /canary, they can see this information. But that we basically say, here's the JavaScript, here's the code that runs in your web browser. Here's how we handle the encryption. It uses the built-in encryption APIs that every web browser supports. Sorry, I don't want to get too technical, but I just want to say, and then so we give access to the source code, so anybody that's technical and understands the stuff can read the source code. And then we give the fingerprint, like it's called a hash, so you can say this file has not changed or anything. So you can see that if you compare that hash versus what's actually in use on our website, if it's different, then the version that's on the website is not the same as what we're saying it is. So that's a problem. And even if we just put one space character in the file, it would change the hash. So that's how you can verify that what we say is running in your computer is actually running in your computer. And that's how another way you can verify that we're not handling your data unencrypted at all.
So all of that technical jargon aside, the summary of that is that the software is absolutely private and safe for people to use, and it basically does what it says on the tin and only allows people that you give permission to access your information. I think that's great. But for people that aren't technically minded and might have kind of zoned out a little bit, I know my partner's learning to code at the moment, so like phrases like API and stuff are things that he throws at me, and I kind of nod along but kind of don't really understand. For people that might not be too sure about the technical side, can you give us a brief summary of how easy it is to set up an account and to use the software, so that people might not be scared of coming to have a look at the website in case it's kind of that they're worried it might be a bit too technical?
Yeah, for sure. So, and that's a great point. So to use the service is extremely simple. If you've ever filled out a form online, then you can use the service. It's that straightforward. And once you're logged into your account, the interface is very similar to a social media feed, right? You see who's updated, that's shared their data with you, who's updated their location, whatever it might be. You have this feed there, and you can filter and view individual people, et cetera, et cetera. When you're editing your private data, you just go to my private data. It asks for your encryption password. You enter the encryption password, it decrypts it and displays your data. And you have a few different tabs. One is just sort of your general file where you can put whatever information you want. And when you first create an account, you'll have like a template, a base template that's like, if I go missing, what's my social security number, for example. In the States we have those. If I suddenly pass away, these sort of things. And it's just from a place where you can just kind of dump anything that you think would be important. And then you have another tab that's your services. So this would be passwords for your banking and for your email and whatever it may be. And you can add as many as you want. There's no limit. And on the third tab, you have your files. So this could be your will. This could be current photos of yourself. This could be, I don't know, maybe legal contracts. Maybe you're fighting with a business partner and you're concerned about their behavior. So you want to put this paper trail there, on the service. And so, so it's really, really simple to use. We haven't had any complaints in terms of the interface yet that it's complicated to use. So we're really proud about that because, I think it's important that people understand, not at the low level, but they understand that technically it is safe as far as we can tell, and we have had it reviewed by security experts. But also that it's friendly and you can use it and it's not going to be challenging, because like you said, I think when people start hearing encryption and API and stuff, their eyes kind of glaze over, and I get it. It's the same when people are talking to me about I don't know, finance or whatever. I'm like, what? I go lost. So I totally get it.
And I guess the hopes are if family units will be using the software, then there'll be people across multiple generations that will have had more experience with electronics than maybe some other members of the family. So I think that's important to highlight. And for my listeners particularly, or listeners of this show specifically, I guess a good demographic would be those members of groups who have left and are potentially facing shunning from family and friends. If those family and friends are being pressured to cut off all contact with people who decide to walk away from a high demand control group, then you can still kind of keep an eye on each other and make sure that the other people are safe without having direct contact with them. So instead of calling them or emailing them or texting them or reaching out over social media, where you could kind of maybe be seen and get into trouble, then you can kind of just have a little browse of these breadcrumbs every now and then, just make sure that those people are safe that you might not be able to have contact with anymore, which obviously is another reason we would hope the software wouldn't be used, because the shunning process in some of these groups that we talk about is heinous and awful. But that's one particular example of a small community of listeners that they might find a reason to need software such as this one, and that's why when I first read about the software itself, I thought it could be really helpful to some of the people that listen to the show, that come and interview on the show. But aside from all of this, do you have any future plans for the software or for your company overall?
Yeah, so one of the features how it works on your mobile phone is it has like a bot integration. It's called the robot bot, whatever. So it's almost like it's exactly like you're just texting with a friend, right? But it's really just a robot that's updating your account with Help You Find Me. So we're looking to add more integrations for that to give you more control over certain things and additional notifications. Like you can get notifications on the integration as it is now. For instance, when my daughter updates her location, I immediately get a notification on my phone so I can see exactly where she's at. Mm-hmm. But we want to improve on those. We want to also improve a little bit more on the feed. So if you want to just fetch your feed to see the latest updates from the phone, you can do things like that. We also want to build better integrations with other services. So for instance, There's a couple of different programs that are similar minded, not an ethical missing file, but safety apps and safety technology that we're in talks with to sort of form partnerships and integrations because we complement each other so well.
Mm-hmm.
So we're working on that as well. We're really excited about the things that are coming right now.
Yeah. And Anna mentioned in one of the previous emails that you are sponsoring CrimeCon as well.
Yes, UK, CrimeCon UK. We're really stoked for this.
That's going to be amazing.
Are you going?
No, unfortunately, I was keeping an eye on the 2021 conference, but then that was kind of put on hold because of lockdown restrictions. And then I was kind of keeping an eye on it, and there was no update. And then kind of as things drew closer with the birth of our daughter, I stopped checking, and then she was born a few weeks back. And I just happened to go and check on the website the other day and realized that it's all been rescheduled and the lineup looks amazing. And it's next month, which unfortunately, with the age of our newborn, it's a bit too soon. But we did reach out and spoke to the podcast row organizers, and they're going to hold a spot for us next year, which is exciting. But at this particular product is perfect for a place like CrimeCon. When you walk around all the stalls and people are advertising their new kind of forensic technology and going through tutorials on how this new software works, and then you've got this software sponsoring the UK conference itself. So I think that also ties in perfectly, and is an exciting next step for this software and getting it some coverage and getting it out there so people can start using it and start feeling a bit more at ease about family and friends. So if you visit the website now, helpufind.me, I believe that you can sign up for a 31-day free trial.
Correct. Yeah. So if you use the coupon code HYFM-CULT, it's just HYFM-CULT, help you find me CULT. Just use that coupon code, or you can also just go to helpufind.me/HYFM-CULT, and it'll just, put the coupon code in for you. You can create an account. It's free. There's no credit card required. You can try it for a month, 31 days. And if you decide you want to keep using it, that's awesome. And if you need some help or you need a little extra time to continue trying it, just shoot us an email. The supports email and everything is all over the website. And we'll extend the trial, no problem at all. We want people to get comfortable with it. It's a new concept, and as far as I know, there's no other product that does this. So we understand there's a bit of a learning curve, and we want to help people feel secure. So no worries at all. But yeah, check it out, and it's free, like I said. So
absolutely, yeah, and the package that you get with the 31-day free trial looks fantastic as well. And the helpufind.me/HYFM-CULT will actually support the podcast as well, because any purchases that are made outside of the trial will apply a discount code that will then help with supporting the podcast. And Help You Find Me is officially sponsoring the podcast as well over the month of September. So you'll hear lots of promising advertising from me in the pre-roll and mid-roll of episodes that come out for the whole of September. So it's all round looking like a fantastic collaboration, and I'm really, really excited to bring this to the listeners. So unless you think there's anything we've missed, Peter, I think we've covered everything.
I think so. Yeah. Thank you again so much for this chat and having me on here. It's been super fun, and I love hearing your enthusiasm and everything. And I'm really excited to sponsor your podcast. I think it's fantastic, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
I'm excited to see where the podcast goes and where this software goes. And I hope that there are some listeners who can use the trial and send some feedback, let us know how they found using the software. And if they have any examples of where it's come in handy for them. So if anybody would like to start their free trial and get in touch and let me know, I can feed that back to Peter and his team, and we can continue to watch from the sidelines to see how the company grows. So thank you so much, Peter. I'll be in touch and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Casey. You as well.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
That is the end of this update episode. If you'd like to get in touch, please do so by emailing me at cultvaultpodcast@gmail.com or follow me on Twitter and Instagram @cultvaultpod. I'm your speaker, Casey, and this has been the Cult Vault.